Let's get going. Thank you all for attending. I know these are hectic times and everyone's schedules are out of control. So thank you again for taking the time to attend our session today. You know, the slide here says how you prepare, prevent, and protect, which really is something that we've been on a mission to do here at Proxyclick. But there's a deeper theme that we're going to talk about at the end around how you can unify the flows of people coming in and out of your building. So let's start here. Who we are. Some of you might know who we are. Some of you might be wondering who these guys are. So quick intro to us. So we're one of the key players today in the space of visitor management. So everything you would need to ensure that your visitors have a clean experience before they get to your location, at your location, in your location, and leaving is the space that we operate in. We're, over the last couple of years, we've racked up more than 30 million visits. We are used by more than 30 companies in the Fortune 500, a growing and strong list of clients, global coverage, and extremely fantastic technology behind the scenes, along with the fact that we're trusted by some of the largest brands in the world. So we've been in this space for some time, and we've definitely made a strong impact. But there's really two parts in which I want to address this. One is why you would actually need a visitor management in the first place, and then actually turn your focus to the future a little bit to say, where are we going in terms of how you think of VMS and beyond. So if you start off with why VMS, we like to think of it as there's 5 key areas. The first being, it's the only way you can really improve the security of your locations. And in this day and age, it goes beyond security. It's actually security, not just in terms of bad actors, but also people that may infect other people and people that maybe should not be allowed on premises falls into security. The second big area is that of audits, because everything is great until you get audited or the compliance shows up and says, tell me who was here yesterday, right? So that's the second big area that we work in. The third is that of privacy, and that's an interesting one, where being able to actually respect the privacy of the jurisdiction you're in and ensure that your visitors are actually given the privacy and respect they deserve is a third big area that we work in. The fourth one is that of efficiency. And the fifth one is that of actually helping you create a strong branding experience so you can project the best that your brand has to offer before your visitors even show up to your location. So let's dive into these, right? The first one on security is really, there's a couple of key capabilities that we've had and that we're investing in. From everything from being able to pre-register, to be able to obtain QR codes that integrate nicely with the access control at your turnstile, to being able to scan against watch lists and prevent bad actors from getting in, but more and more in today's day and age, actually preventing people that may have an above normal temp scan or people that may have answered a COVID survey in a certain way. We bucket all that into security and say we can help you improve the security of your locations. So that's, again, our core benefit that we provide from the VMS perspective. The second one around audits and compliance is to say, we actually, in the way that we're built and the associations that we're affiliated with, we can ensure that your visitors are tracked, audited, and you've got the data to ensure that you're audit proof almost in multiple scenarios. And while but this also applies then to your employees and your contractors to be able to say that we can support health and safety requirements to ensure that if you do get called out, we're there to help you. The third area really is around privacy and liability. So this is an area that we actually pride ourselves on, and it's an area that may not be very kind of glaringly obvious, but think of it this way, right? When somebody enters the premises and they're telling you their name, their email, their phone number, you're collecting data on them. And so may not be here, but in a global setting, if you have a European location, they have to comply with GDPR regulations because you're collecting data. So the ability to delete the data automatically, to set data retention rules, and actually putting in real data processing agreements to comply with GDPR is really probably one of our deepest differentiators, and the ability and a capability that a lot of our clients find very, very useful, even though on the surface it might seem like, yeah, privacy. And if you think about now collecting temperature data and things like that, that's the next level of privacy is to say, should I hold that data? How long should I hold it for, et cetera, right? The fourth real benefit here is around efficiency. So here's the thing. It's fine to be able to process, one visitor at a time, going in, going out. But, even in the world before we knew it, one of the big benefits that we're providing is around reducing waiting time to avoid actually people crowding and congesting in front desk areas, which matters even more in these days of social distancing. Being able to create smart rules that actually allow people to check in quicker, and then bulk loading, right? This is something that for our core persona, which is the front desk manager, this is a big deal to be able to say 100 people were going to show up at my door that were all in the system and be able to let them all in one shot. So this efficiency is another thing where we've been quite strong from a VMS perspective. And then finally, it's branding, right? It's not something that you may think of as being, well, what can the VMS do here? But here's the thing. This is the first experience that a visitor will have when they show up to your door or to your turnstile or your kiosk, and it needs to look and feel exactly like you, and that's something that we can support. So we allow fully branded welcome experiences to that look and feel exactly like your company from the time that you send the invitation emails till the time they come in, and all throughout the experience within your buildings and as your visitors leave. So to recap, that's sort of the core business we've been in, from branding to efficiency to supporting audits to security and privacy. Now, that business has done pretty well for us, right? It's the reason we're one of the top players in the space. But the thing I wanted to talk to everyone on here is the fact that the world really has changed. So it goes without saying that we were in the pre-COVID, we're now in the post-COVID, you can say new normal or no normal. But the thing is, visitor management, for the most part, has evolved in a certain direction over the last decade. So, for many hundred years before this, we had paper logbooks, people tracking who came in and out of locations. In the last couple of years, we've seen an evolution to digital visitor management systems, a lot of which we've been the pioneers behind. And then more and more, you see this push towards integrated VMS, where companies can manage their visitor flows in their way. This is where the VMS maybe connects to other parts of an enterprise ecosystem to create a more seamless experience. And that's all been great, right? But the thing is, there's been a couple of big shifts that have happened, shifts that were probably already underway that got accelerated because of COVID. So the first one is the rise of flex space. One of the big shifts that we're seeing is that more and more companies are not mandating that you have to be fully remote or fully in office, right? They're supporting more of these hybrid models. And as a result, we're seeing from an office-based perspective, a big rise in the need for flex spaces where companies can pick and choose what space they have for what duration of time. And this actually supports the more agile, the newer way of working. So the COVID has accelerated what was actually a future trend in how we work. And therefore, it's accelerating a trend in where we work, which is this rise of flex space. The second thing that we're seeing among a lot of our customers as well and the market is that this blurring of the line between the employee and the visitor. So you've got employees that are saying, I want to work from home some of the time. I want to go to a different office location some of the time. I want to go to a co-working space some of the time. And in this whole old relationship between an employee being someone that goes to a location is actually blurring. The line between employee and visitor is blurring. And then finally, we're seeing not a new trend, but an acceleration of this trend where companies are seeing more and more contractors on the rise, again, to increase their flexibility, to cut costs in these tricky times. And so what's happening here is, and these are a lot of our own customers and across the market, we're hearing that these trends are here, they're here to stay, and there was something that companies were thinking about, but they've been accelerated because of COVID. So that's all great, but what still remains is a disconnect, right? So we grew up in the visitor management space, but what we're seeing is that there's multiple sub-industries or sub-silos in the space between meeting room management, access control. I just put up a couple of examples here. But on the other side, you have companies that are saying these trends where employees are becoming visitors, visitors are employees, and there's a need to have a single view. The systems that we have today are not supporting that, right? On one hand, you have these disconnected systems, and on the other hand, You have companies that are demanding, and we're seeing this across many of our customers, companies demanding the fact that we need this unified experience that connects everything, right? So there's this big disconnect. And what we need to do as an industry, really, and really this is where Proxyclick is making some big strides, is the need to evolve. So we need to evolve from pure visitor management, which is where we've been for the last couple of years, and we've done quite well, to actually thinking about visitors, employees, contractors, delivery, and pretty much the people that are flowing in and out of your location. So we need to move from visitor management to this notion of people flow management. So what does that really mean? So think of it this way. Imagine if you had an employee that has to go into a location. What if they had the ability to say, I'm able to schedule my visit ahead of time. I'm able to know if there's already too many people that are going to be going in. I'm able to get a QR code that automatically will let me into the building because I answered the right questions on a survey. I was able to have my temp scanned when I got there, and that data got tracked along with my employee record. I was able to then go to the place that I was supposed to go to quickly without having to touch anything. And then when I'm leaving, that data all gets aggregated, right? That is the world that we're talking about. That when we think of saying employees and visitors and contractors all get the same experience, we almost need to move from the world that's here on the left to the world that's here on the right. So you might say, this is great. I mean, this seems like some not a very complex change that we're talking about, but the change here is more than skin deep, right? So if you look on the left, what you're seeing is actually the world that we were in, and maybe in many cases the world that we are in today, where under the surface you have all these disconnected systems. You have, on one side, you've got meeting room management, facilities management, your own HR systems maybe that manage the people themselves. You've got visitor management, access control, tenant experience, and they're all sitting kind of insidiously under the surface. And you have these people that are moving out of locations. But what's happened now is you have all these additional regulations and these additional requirements that have been popped on top of them. So you can see people need to stay 6 feet apart. People need to be wearing masks. People need to have, their temperatures being scanned. People need to know if it's actually safe to commute in, and will that commute increase their risk of catching something. People need to know where they're going to go when they enter the building. And all this has to be done in a seamless way, such that people aren't waiting online for 15, 20, 30 minutes and actually turn back around and say, this is not worth my time. So the question you have to say is, how do we get this done today? And today, there isn't really a way to do this, right? You've got all these disconnected systems here, and you have all these people up here that are trying to make their way in there. And so that's really what we're the next leg of where Proxyclick is going to, which is, we've been investing heavily in the visitor space, and now we are looking to move, and we've just launched our employee beta program, which I can put the link on chat after this, but where we're going to be unifying the experience across multiple of these underlying systems to help give our customers. These are both in a multi-tenant setting, it's the landlords and their tenants, this ability to say, I can look at my people flows, right? This is an important thing. There are people flows in a unified way. Everything from integrating across the systems to then delivering an experience to visitors and employees and contractors in a seamless way, to then creating a layer of intelligence on top that says, okay, well, looking across all these systems and looking at all this data we've collected, this is what we predict is going to happen. So this is how much space we need to keep open for the next day or the next week. So it's a big shift in what we're doing, and we're actually moving towards this world that actually you could have argued was a 5-year shift that got accelerated due to COVID, and all these trends that were bubbling under the surface forced the market to move in this direction, and we're squarely pushing to make this a reality. So what does that mean for the employee experience again, right? I think a couple of the key benefits that we're going to be providing with our employee offering with this unified flow is to say a simpler access to the admin experience, complete touchless access using existing hardware. That's a very important thing, which is we're not saying that you need to replace or get rid of any of these things under the surface. What we're saying is that these things are all here for a reason and they should stay, but we want to come in over the top and create a uniform layer, a uniform experience layer that helps everyone from the administrator to the facility manager to the hiring manager to the employee to the contractor understand where people are at all times, should they be there, and where they need to go, right? This is we're kind of reinventing the paradigm of and breaking down silos in an industry that's gotten too siloed. The other big thing for us is delivering this experience in a very smooth way, where we're really unifying how visitors and employees are access to this. So where are we with this right now? We've actually deployed this in multiple locations across the world, and we're seeing that more and more employees and visitors are starting to rely on this experience to come in through the door. So, I wanted to give you kind of a quick overview there of what we're up to. Let us see if we've got any questions here. Is there any type of company or sector that's adopting technology the most? So it's interesting. There's sort of a natural fit here, which is for landlords and operators that are looking to create a much more seamless experience, right? That almost want to make their locations a place that employees may want to come back to. That's one of the areas where we're definitely seeing this. The other area where we're seeing adoption is in a lot of the industries where they didn't really have a choice to make themselves completely remote. So in manufacturing, in food, in a lot of these other industries where sort of coming in is important, this allows that to happen. And what the interesting correlation that we see there is those are also the industries where there's multiple different types of actors that are flowing in and out of locations, right? In warehouses, you've got visitors, you've got contractors, suppliers, employees that clock in and out. And so being able to have a single handle on your flows is something that's very, very important there. The other area that we're seeing adoption is actually in a segment of white collar companies. Actually, management consulting is an interesting one where there is they can't move to a completely remote model, like being in person to be able to collaborate where knowledge is their output and collaborating is required is something that doesn't happen very well over Zoom. And so being able to support that's the other sector where we're seeing adoption of this. But it's fascinating to see that there's a tremendous amount of demand, and this as bad as the pandemic has been, it's actually accelerated this trend of saying, yeah, we need to have a single handle and a single way to integrate across all our systems. From a competitive perspective, there's another chat over here. I think if I go back to there's multiple players in this space, right? This is an important problem to solve, and with all important problems, you're going to see other vendors pop up, and that's good. That shows that there's lots of smart brain power trying to solve a problem for customers. But the thing is, a lot of the folks in the market sort of create this walled garden experience. So like you have to be in their app to be able to check in, check out. And from an experience perspective, that's fine, I guess. But where we set apart is really on the accuracy and the privacy side, if nothing else, right? The fact that we are deeply integrated with multiple numbers of access control systems allows us to say that, this person actually is on site, right? This person actually checked out. And if you think of the ramifications of that, from social distancing to occupancy and capacity management, to contact tracing, to just audit and compliance, if you ever get audited, or if in our case, the CDC shows up and says, who was here? The fact that we have integrated into the flow of that person entering and leaving is a huge differentiator. And then the other big one there is is that around privacy, where we've given our DNA, we've been focused on privacy from the very beginning. So our emphasis has been on saying what are the data retention and the rules that govern how data is managed where that person is in the jurisdiction that they are, and being able to automate that and being able to have different settings for different regions is a big differentiator. And it's going to become even more important when you think about as we're entering the employee space. And as we start to track data that could be on the edge of, is it medical data? Is it not? Who sees it? Who doesn't? That's where our privacy approach is going to be extremely critical, because we have the ability to say, look, yeah, this type of data should only be seen by this person and then should be removed as soon as the person leaves, or removed within 1 hour, or whatever it is. And so that becomes another big differentiator for us. Let's see. Yep. So we got one from Mike. We got one from Keitaro. So I'll answer Keitaro's question here. We have tenant integration apps, corporate.work.com. So we are in the process of building out these. So you can your kind of your industry known tenant experience apps, but also we do it more a lot of times on a what's in that location or what's in their portfolio type basis. Corporate apps like work.com. Yeah, we are definitely looking into that. And the other big set of integrations that we have is really around access. So that's I'm repeating one of the big differentiators that we have, but the fact is our ability to integrate with, and the fact that we do integrate with some of the leading access control platforms out there is a big deal, because then you don't need a separate app. You don't need a separate badge, right? The employee, all they have to do is pre-register, answer the survey, and then get a QR code that will work with that access control. So that's, for us, being in the flow and supporting the flow of the person is huge, because otherwise we are yet another thing that gets in the way of the experience. And if we do that, we're already behind, especially in these times where there's 10 more steps for someone to get in, and any one more step beyond that is something that will lead to a person not wanting to get in. And so that's a big piece of our differentiator, as a reason we're so passionate about unifying these flows of people, right? We don't want to say employee, oh, you have to do these 15 steps and it's going to take you forever. Visitor, you go here. You're a person, you want to come in, are you allowed to come in? Great, let's just go with the flow. In terms of track when employees are back at work across the portfolio buildings, I believe we do. We're looking into making that capability a lot more easy to access. Today it's more on the admin side, so we're looking to bring that out more. Let's see, session questions. Any other questions from people? Does this make sense? I do want to give a quick shout out. If you go to our proxyclick.com/people-flows, and you're interested, you can definitely sign up for our beta program. We're currently in a very exclusive kind of mode where we're looking for the right fit, and gives you early access to some of these capabilities and allows you to really help shape where we take the industry. Because now that we've been in the space for some time and we've built all these integrations, for us it's a matter of unifying all those flows, and we're always looking for the right partners to help us do that. So again, proxyclick.com/people-flows, and we'd love to see some of you sign up for our beta, and we can go on this journey of unifying our flows together. Any other questions? I know we have 3 minutes in terms of the session time. Let's see, there's people up. That's Keitaro. Already got his question. Okay, well, I think that's my piece. I will hit the leave button, which will, oh yeah, what's next in the product roadmap? It's this. So this is, you're getting a sneak peek of it right now, right? So what's specifically next is really a lot around employee capabilities and being able to push that visitor flow that we've built over the last couple of years and unify that across employees and contractors and other types of people. So that's the next big push for us. And the time is now, because the market is asking for this. Okay. Well, thank you for your questions. It's always weird when you can't hear people, but I'm assuming people are people are able to see and hear. And I believe there will be some recordings and all that. The CREtech guys will take care of that. But thank you again. And yeah, let me know maybe through these guys if you have any questions. Sign up for our beta, proxyclick.com/people-flows. Thank you, everybody. Have a good rest of your day.